Okay, so let's look at this document we have here. It's
Mm.
titled Jack Parsons and the Fall of Babylon.
Right. And that's quite a title. Covers a lot.
It really does. You've got rocket science, pioneering stuff, right alongside, well, deep occultism.
A complex mix, definitely.
So rather than wading through the entire thing right now, our mission for this deep dive is kind of a shortcut.
Okay. How so?
We're just going to try and get a feel for what kind of information is in this document by looking at its structure, specifically the appendices.
Right. Looking at the end matter to understand the whole. Smart.
Yeah, like getting the map overview before the journey,
Hmm.
helps you figure out what you're getting into.
Exactly. Seeing what the author includes as supplementary stuff, it gives you a strong signal about the scope, the main points.
And maybe the sources they leaned on.
Precisely. You can gauge the depth pretty quickly, see if it hits the angles you care about.
Okay, map time then. Let's look. First up, Appendix A, Reconstructed Chronology. When you see that for someone like Parsons, what does that immediately flag for you?
Well, reconstructed chronology for Parsons screams complexity. His life wasn't exactly straightforward.
No.
You've got these parallel tracks, science, mysticism, his personal life, often hard to line up neatly.
So this appendix suggests the author did that legwork.
It implies they've pieced together events, probably across different fields, maybe using historical records, biographies, perhaps even, obscure personal stuff, trying to give you a clear timeline for a very messy life.
Got it. History that needed, piecing together. Okay, next, Appendix B, the Decameron 210.
Now that's specific.
Right, very specific title. What does including something called the Decameron 210 tell you about where this document is going?
It tells you it's not staying superficial, referencing something that specific. It points to a really deep dive into particular source material.
Likely esoteric stuff.
Probably. Something specialized. It suggests the author is directly engaging with texts or maybe systems of thought that were, crucial to Parsons' practices.
So within occultism or specific magical traditions.
Yeah, that seems likely. It signals you're going to find discussions rooted in very particular writings or frameworks, not just general overviews.
Fascinating. Okay, specific history and specific text. Then we get appendices C and D together, the significance of Babylon and the Book of Babylon.
Yeah, double focus there.
Babylon seems pretty central, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It's striking how much space is given to Babylon. In Parsons' context, she's a major figure in Thelema, the tradition he got heavily into.
So these appendices probably unpack who or what Babylon is.
Exactly. They suggest the document spends real time explaining Babylon's role, her symbolism, maybe her place in rituals or cosmology, and it mentions the Book of Babylon, likely a key text connected to her.
So understanding Babylon is positioned as critical to understanding Parsons.
It seems that way. Crucial for his later life and work, definitely.
Okay. History, specific texts, central mystical figure. Then Appendix E, Freedom, is a two-edged sword. That feels different.
Boldness, yeah. More thematic.
Less historical or textual.
Right. This title signals a shift. It suggests the document isn't just recounting facts or analyzing texts, but it's grappling with the ideas, the philosophical side.
Ideas inherent in Parsons' life.
Mm-hmm. Given his radical pursuits in both science and spirituality, this appendix probably explores freedom in those contexts.
Like the freedom he sought, or the risks.
Both, maybe. The liberation through occult stuff, the freedom driving his science, but also the potential dangers, the costs, the paradoxes of pushing boundaries so hard. That two-edged sword part is key.
Adds a layer of analysis.
Okay.
And finally, Appendix F, Selected Bibliographies. Pretty standard, but useful.
Very useful, highly practical for you, the listener.
How so?
Well, it confirms the work is grounded in research, obviously, but crucially, it gives you a direct path if you want to explore further.
Right, if any of this sparks your interest.
Exactly. Whether it's the history, the specific texts like Decameron, Babylon herself, or those bigger philosophical questions about freedom, the bibliographies are your launchpad for your own deep dive.
So just looking at this list chronology, Decameron 210, the big focus on Babylon and her book, the philosophical angle on freedom, and bibliographies, it paints a picture, doesn't it?
It really does.
Even before reading page 1, you get a sense of the terrain. It tells you this document is tackling Parsons from, well, multiple angles.
Yeah, not just one thing. It's charting his history, analyzing his influences, exploring the key figures in his world, and wrestling with the big ideas his life brings up.
Suggests a pretty comprehensive, multi-layered approach.
Seems like it. Trying to understand a truly unique individual.
Right. So we've seen just from these structural clues, these appendices, we can get a really good sense of what Jack Parsons in The Fall of Babylon covers. Its depth, its angles.
Which brings up maybe a final thought.
Oh.
Well, think about the title, Jack Parsons and the Fall of Babylon, linking him to this, symbolic or mystical fall.
Okay.
And then you have that appendix, freedom is a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
What does putting those together suggest to you about the potential outcomes, maybe the consequences, the triumphs, and perhaps the perils involved in what this work explores?
It definitely hints that pushing boundaries like Parsons did, it comes with stakes, big implications.
Something to think about as you'd approach the main text, what that fall might really mean and how freedom plays into it.